April 18, 2016, Midlothian, Texas, 4:18 a.m. Missy Bevers pulls her gray Ford F-150 into the parking lot of the Creekside Church of Christ. It's pouring rain, thunderstorms, the kind of morning where most people would stay in bed. But Missy is a fitness instructor who runs the Camp Gladiator classes, a boot camp style workout, rain or shine. She posted the night prior on Facebook, "If it's raining, we're still training. No excuses. You're all gladiators." Missy grabbed her equipment from the truck. She heads inside to set up before her 5 a.m. class. She has no idea she's not alone. Inside the church, someone's been waiting. At least 30 minutes. Someone dressed from head to toe in police tact gear. A helmet, vest, gloves. Walking slowly through the hallways, breaking glass and opening doors. Like they're staging a burglary or, waiting for someone. 4:35 a.m., Missy's students started arriving in the parking lot. They wait outside for minutes, and then around 5 a.m., 5 students enter the church together. They find Missy lying in a pool of blood in the southwest corner of the building. She'd been attacked with multiple wounds to her head and chest. However, whoever did this was gone. 2 separate 911 calls go out. Police arrive within minutes. But here's the thing. The surveillance cameras inside the church captured everything. The person in tact gear, walking, breaking things. But the cameras outside, not working. So police have no idea who this is, how they got there, or where they went. Now, almost 10 years later, the case of Missy Beavers still remains unsolved. So, let's dive into that case today. We're going to watch some surveillance footage and we're going to go over all the details. Alright, so let's get into the story.
Terry Leanne Strickland, who went by Missy, was born on August 9, 1970 in Graham, Texas. She grew up in Jacksboro with 2 brothers, one older, one younger. Graduated high school in 1988. People who knew Missy described her the same way: kind, caring, inclusive. The type of person who didn't know a stranger. If you needed help, Missy was there. She attended Tarleton State University, graduated in 1995 with a degree in science, got her teaching certificate in special education, worked as a teacher for a few years. In 1998, she married Brandon Beavers. They had 3 daughters together, Hannah in 2001, Allison in 2003, and Sarah in 2007. After Hannah was born, Missy decided to become a stay-at-home mom. Homeschooled the kids, devoted herself to family life. But as the girls got older, Missy found herself wanting something more. She'd always been interested in fitness, started focusing on her own health, got into great shape, and that's when she discovered Camp Gladiator. Camp Gladiator is a national fitness organization based in Austin, Texas. Essentially, it's a personal training program where instructors can start their own groups, recruit students, and run boot camp style classes. It's also, let's be honest, structured like an MLM, multi-level marketing, pyramid scheme vibes. But for Missy, it was perfect. Combined her 2 passions, teaching and fitness. She got permission from Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, about 20 minutes from her home in Red Oak, to host classes there. Missy threw herself into it, posted constantly on Facebook about class times and locations, built up a loyal group of students. People loved her. She was motivating, inspiring, challenging. She pushed people to be their best. In mid-April 2016, Missy attended a Camp Gladiator conference in Austin, basically a training camp for coaches. Everything seemed to be going well. Her husband Brandon had minor surgery around that time, but recovery was quick. He even had a fishing trip planned with his company. On April 17th, Brandon flew from Texas to Gulfport, Mississippi for an annual company fishing trip. He posted about it on Facebook, weather radar, flight info, all of it. That evening, at 6:49 p.m., Missy posted her class schedule for the next day. Then at 7:55 p.m., she posted again. If it's raining, we're still training. No excuses. You are gladiators. A storm was rolling in. Heavy rain, thunder. But Missy wasn't canceling. At 9:23 p.m., she posted that she was going to bed. Had to be up at 3:30 a.m. At 9:30 p.m., Brandon called her. She was already half asleep. They said, "I love you," and hung up. It was the last time they spoke. Early morning, April 18th, 2016, 3:50 a.m. Surveillance cameras inside Creekside Church of Christ activate. Motion activated. They only record when something moves, and someone is moving through the church. A figure dressed in full police tactical gear, helmet, vest with police written on the back, gloves, heavy boots, carrying a hammer and what looks like a pry bar, walking slowly through the hallways, opening doors, breaking glass. Not frantically, not like a burglar in a hurry, slowly, deliberately, almost casually, like they're waiting for something, or someone. At 4:16 a.m., Missy's truck pulls into the parking lot. At 4:18 a.m., surveillance shows Missy entering the church. She walks down the hallway, heading toward where she usually sets up for class, heading toward where the figure in tactical gear has been roaming. The cameras don't capture what happens next. There are no cameras in that part of the building, but sometime between 4:20 and 5 a.m., Missy is attacked. At 4:35 a.m., one of Missy's students arrives early. This student had never taken Missy's class before, didn't know there was a button to press to unlock the back door, so they waited outside. By 5 a.m., 4 more students had arrived. They entered the church together. They found Missy lying in the southwest corner of the building, blood everywhere. 2 separate 911 calls went out at approximately 5 a.m. Fire department arrived at 5:07. Police 3 minutes later. Missy was pronounced deceased at the scene. She was 45 years old. When police processed the scene, they found broken glass all over the hallways. Several doors, both exterior and interior, had been forced open. At first, investigators thought Missy had accidentally walked in on a burglary, but things didn't add up. Nothing was stolen from the church. No audiovisual equipment. No money. Missy's purse, iPad, and even a firearm were still in her truck, untouched. An autopsy revealed Missy had multiple puncture wounds to her head and chest. Police said the wounds were consistent with tools the suspect was carrying, meaning the hammer, maybe the pry bar. But here's the thing, and this is important. Police have never officially released Missy's cause of death. Some reports suggest she may have also been shot, that a firearm was involved, but police won't confirm that. They're holding back certain details for investigative purposes, which makes sense, but it also means we don't know exactly how Missy was taken from this world. That same day, April 18th, police held a press conference. They released photos and a short video of the suspect from the church's interior cameras. The footage shows a person dressed head to toe in tactical gear, walking slowly, breaking things, opening doors. Let me be clear, this footage is eerie. At first, police referred to the suspect as male, but the next day they walked that back. Assistant Police Chief Kevin Johnson told the press, "We are backing off our statement that the suspect was a man. There is speculation based on the gait and appearance that this person may be a woman. It's a legitimate question. We can't rule it out." Here's what we know. The suspect is estimated to be between 5 feet 2 inches and 5 feet 7 inches tall. They walk with a distinctive gait, a limp, favoring their right leg, feet pointing outward. A forensic podiatrist later reviewed the footage and said the suspect likely had a recent injury to their right foot or leg. The gear they're wearing is so bulky that it's impossible to determine body type or gender. Some people think it's a man. Some think it's a woman. The debate continues to this day. As with any case like this, investigators immediately looked at the husband, Brandon Beavers. He was out of town at the time, 500 miles away in Mississippi on that fishing trip. But of course, that doesn't automatically clear him. People hire others to do terrible things. Brandon spoke to the press the day after Missy's death. He seemed calm, composed, almost detached. Some people found that suspicious. He said, "I believe my wife walked in on a robbery. That's just my opinion." But later, his opinion changed. In another interview, Brandon said, "I believe she was targeted. That's my opinion." Search warrants revealed that Missy and Brandon had been having marital problems, financial struggles. There was evidence of intimate personal relationships external to the marriage, meaning affairs, or at least flirtatious conversations. Missy had been messaging at least one man on LinkedIn. The messages were described as flirtatious and familiar. So investigators had to ask, did Brandon have a motive? Here's what we know for sure. Brandon Beavers was in Biloxi, Mississippi at the time of the murder. He posted photos on Facebook. His phone pinged from Mississippi. Multiple witnesses confirmed he was there. The FBI investigated, verified his alibi, cleared him. Randy Beavers, Brandon's father, was also looked at. He walks with a limp, similar to the suspect's gait. A few days after the murder, Randy took a bloody shirt to the dry cleaners. The dry cleaners called police. Turned out, Randy's dog had been attacked by another dog and didn't survive. That's where the blood came from. Tests confirmed it was animal blood. Randy's alibi also checked out. He was in California at the time. Police have publicly stated none of Missy's family, friends, or co-workers are considered suspects. But that doesn't mean they've stopped investigating. In May 2016, police announced they were looking for a vehicle. Around 2 a.m. on the morning of Missy's murder, about 2 hours before she was attacked, a silver Nissan Ultima was seen behaving strangely. It pulled into the parking lot of SWFA Outdoors, a gun store less than a mile from Creekside Church. Surveillance footage shows the car driving in circles, stopping, turning its lights off, then back on, just sitting there for several minutes. Then it left. Police said they wanted to talk to the driver, emphasized the car might not be connected to the case, but the timing, the location, pretty suspicious. To this day, the driver of that car has never been identified. The theories. So what happened to Missy Beavers? Theory 1. Burglary gone wrong. Maybe Missy really did walk in on a burglary. The person panicked, attacked her, fled. But nothing was stolen, and the suspect seemed too calm, too deliberate. Theory 2. Targeted attack. Maybe someone knew Missy would be there that morning, waited for her, staged the scene to look like a burglary. But who and why? Theory 3. Jealous rival. Camp Gladiator is structured like an MLM. There's competition between coaches. Maybe someone in that world had a grudge. Maybe someone's spouse was jealous. Maybe Missy's success, her looks, her personality, maybe that made someone angry. Theory 4. Stalker or stranger. Missy posted her schedule publicly on Facebook. Anyone could have seen it. Maybe this was a random predator, someone who fixated on her, decided to act. Here's what we know for certain. On April 18, 2016, Missy Bevers was attacked and killed inside Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. Surveillance footage captured a person in full police tactical gear roaming the church for at least 30 minutes before Missy arrived. That person has never been identified. Nearly 9 years later, Missy's case remains unsolved. There's a $150,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Missy's daughters, Hannah, Allison, and Sarah, are now young women, growing up without their mother. Brandon has remarried, moved on as best he can, but the question remains, who was in that church that morning? Investigators believe someone out there knows. Maybe they've seen the footage. Maybe they recognize the walk, the mannerisms. If you have any information about the case of Missy Beavers, please contact the Midlothian Police Department at 972-775-7634 or call Ellis County Crime Stoppers at 972-937-7297. Missy deserves justice. Her family deserves answers. And somewhere out there, someone knows the truth.
Let me tell you something that keeps me up at night about this case. It's not the surveillance footage. It's not the tact gear. It's not even the fact that we can watch a killer but can't identify him. It's what we're not talking about. Well, first, the church security system. Think about this. A person breaks into the Creekside Church of Christ at 3:50 in the morning. They're dressed in their tact gear. They start breaking glass, prying open doors, smashing windows and hallways. But no alarm at any point goes off. No silent alarm to the police. No notification to staff. Nothing. How is that? The killer know the security code? They have inside knowledge of the alarm system? Or did they disable it somehow without triggering any alerts? Because here's the thing. Missy had access to the building. She had the code, the security code. She used it every week. But who else had that code? Church staff? Sure. Maybe other instructors who use the facility. But would the church give their security code to just anyone? This wasn't a random break-in. This was someone who either knew how to bypass that system or had legitimate access to the building. The police have never addressed this publicly, never explaining how the killer got in without setting off any alarms, never told us whether they're looking at a person who may have access to those codes. There's a massive hole in this investigation that you never hear anyone talk about. Now, second thing is the autopsy. Now, police have said that Missy died from multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest consistent with tools the suspect was carrying. But they've never officially released the cause of death. They've never told us what specific weapon was used. They've never explained exactly how she was killed. Why? In most murder cases, police release that information. It helps the public understand what happened. It generates tips. It helps rule out false confessions. But in Missy's case, years later, we still don't know. Is it because the weapon tells us something about the killer? Is it because the manner of death reveals a specific level of rage or planning that would narrow down suspects? What does the cause of death tell us that police don't want the public to know about? Now, third thing for me right now is the timeline doesn't make sense. Missy posted on Facebook the night before saying class was moving inside because of rain. That post was public. Anyone could see it. The killer entered the church at 3:50 a.m. Missy's class started at 5 a.m. That means the killer was inside the building for over an hour before the class started, pacing the hallways, breaking glass, waiting. But here's the other thing that bothers me. If this was a crime of passion, rage, jealousy, revenge, why wait all this time? Crimes of passion are often impulsive. They're emotional. They happen in the heat of the moment. But this was calculated. The person had all this time to change their mind. Over an hour before the class actually started, all that time to reconsider, but they didn't. That's not passion, that's planning. Now, another thing that I've often heard, especially in recent memory, is the gender debate. It's really a distraction. Everyone argues that whether the person in tact gear was a man or a woman. Forensic podiatrists analyze the gait. People compare body shapes. The internet dissects every frame. But I think that's exactly what the killer wanted. Think about it. If you're planning to murder someone in a building with security cameras, what do? You wear something that completely obscures your identity. Tact gear does that. A helmet, vest, shin guards. Everything was covered. But it also does something else. It creates ambiguity. Is it a man? Is it a woman? The debate itself becomes the story. And while everyone's arguing about gender, they're not asking the harder questions. Like, who had access to the church? Who knew Missy would be there alone that early? Aside from the people who were maybe, scrolling through Facebook that night. Who had the means and the motive and the opportunity? Fifth, someone is protecting the killer. Now, there's been over 3,000 tips, national media coverage. I mean, this is really a viral case. A $150,000 reward and still no arrests. That doesn't happen unless someone is lying, someone is covering, someone knows exactly who was in the church and they're choosing to stay silent. Maybe it's a spouse. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a friend who suspects but doesn't want to believe it. But someone out there is carrying this secret. And that weight doesn't go away. It grows heavier with each year, each anniversary, every time you see Missy's face. Missy's daughters are grown women now. They've graduated high school, started careers, and starting their lives, all without their mother. Brandon's moved on. He's remarried, found a way to keep living. But Missy's case still sits there. It's still unsolved. The person who killed her, well, they're still out there. Still walking around, still going to work, church, going about with life. Like they didn't murder a 45-year-old mother of 3 inside a house of worship. If you're watching this, you know something. If you're a person who's been carrying this secret for all this time, I want you to understand something. You don't get to move on. Not really. You can pretend. You can lie to yourself. You can tell yourself it wasn't your fault or it was an accident. Maybe even you might tell yourself somewhere you feel like she deserved it. But deep down you know the truth. The truth is eating you alive. Do the right thing. Call the Midlothian Police Department at 972-775-7624. Or call the Ellis County Crime Stoppers at 972-937-7297. You can do this anonymously, and you get a $150,000 reward. And more importantly, you can finally stop carrying this weight. Missy's daughters deserve to know what happened to their mother, and you deserve to stop living this lie. This is Tony of the Cold Case Project. Comment down below, give me your thoughts on today's case. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.